I have a really big fear of being seen, and I always knew, but I've realized recently that I have to get at least a little bit of healing with that, or else I won't be able to do what I need to do. That's just the truth. And I wouldn't even know where to start as far as where that fear came from, because it's something that I've always dealt with as far as I can remember. So there's not just one moment. I see more the end than the beginning. And when I say end, obviously I'm still living life. So it's not the true end. But there's some things that stand out. One of them being, as a little girl, my father and one of his close friends making this joke about a magic eye. And if you were to ask them now, I'm sure they would say that yet again it was me being sensitive and it was just a joke and they didn't mean any harm by it. And maybe they didn't. Truly, maybe it was just a bad joke that a little girl just made bigger than they meant it. But it became bigger than they meant it in that case. Or they knew what they were doing. They had hidden motives. And that's even worse. It was either anyway, no matter what, I remember one night being in the back seat and my dad and his friend were making this joke about there being a magic eye that was always watching me. And it sounded a lot like how people talk about Santa Claus. This magic eye was always watching, and even when I was in the bathroom, even when I was sleeping, could see all the wrong I ever did. The magic eye was always around in this joke. And that's why I say they may have just been saying a bad joke and I was just too sensitive. But still, it's weird to say to a little girl. Especially, I mean, if you want to say, okay, your dad was just trying to be funny, but how many dads would let their friends say that? Now, keep in mind, this specific friend meant a lot to me. He was a dear grown up to me at that age, and so even being a friend, his words had impact on me. I remember that was when I started having this fear of there being video cameras in things. Even as a young adult, my husband got me this teddy bear, one of those big teddy bears, and I remember looking at it one day being scared that there was cameras in it, in its eyes. And I remember before that being sure that my Furby had cameras in its eyes. Now, looking back, I think there might have been a little more to the Furby thing, given if you had a Furby, you can kind of tell the years that Furbies were popular. And I think given the circumstances of what was happening at that time. I think in my kid brain, I hoped the Furby was seeing anything that might be happening in front of it. I would laugh, and that's how outwardly it was justified, is I would laugh to it, because what are you supposed to do as a little girl when two important men to you are telling you that a magic eye is watching you? Now, as an adult, I tried to figure out, like, what did that mean? Like, was that code for you? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't have those answers, because if you look up a magic eye now, it's almost like a puzzle, and that wasn't. And so I don't know if there was more to the joke and I either didn't hear it or don't remember it, but that piece just sticks out, and the amount of times that joke was said. It wasn't a one-off thing. It was all the time. It was even more than Santa. And sometimes I think maybe it was a religious thing. Now, the friend I don't think would necessarily have been super religious, but I could see my dad possibly doing the whole, like, God, God's watching you. And so I don't exactly know. I'm not going to pretend like I do. I don't know where the magic eye thing came from, or why a adult man would even make that joke to his daughter. I remember in a time that I can remember sitting in my room, actually really standing to set the scene, but I was standing in my room, and I remember coming across, now I'm just going to say what I remember. I'm not going to try to interpret anything. But I remember finding a Polaroid, and I remember being wildly uncomfortable by the image. And it's like, even thinking back to it, I can remember it being a Polaroid of me, there being a white shirt, and I remember feeling shy in it. But the way that seeing this, and it was like I came across it. It wasn't like somebody handed it to me. It was like I found it. And I had a bad habit of finding things, no matter what it was, whatever the age. I always accidentally found things. Well, I remember holding this Polaroid in my hand and it making me sick. It was as if this Polaroid was just like a rotting carcass inside of it, just a dead animal, a graphic scene of a beheading, like, but it was me in a white shirt. But it caused such a visceral reaction. I remember I closed my eyes and almost like put my arm away from me and just like stuck it somewhere so I didn't have to see it. That's odd, right? Just a memory, but it's odd, right? My mother had a VHS camera, and if you ever see clips of me young, it's from those VHSs, and for a long time they were just VHSs until one day I asked my uncle, and I asked him if he would be willing to put them onto DVDs, because I've always been somebody that kind of could like look towards the future when it came to digital things. And people thought I was, so crazy back then, but now I'm not so crazy. I looked at these VHSs and I was like, there's no way that there's going to be like VHS players in the future. Yeah, there might be if you go, to a thrift store, you can find old VHS players, but once they started doing things like DVR, I was like, no, it's going to be more digital. So one day I asked my uncle, would you be willing to take these VHSs and turn them into some digital material? Now, some of them I ended up not posting them anywhere because it was stuff like my brother's first bath, and there was another one where it was my first bath, and it showed more than I was comfortable having and showing, especially to strangers on the internet. So you will see other ones. I performed a lot, and the VHS was a big thing in our house. It was something that brought my mom a lot of joy. She wanted to film every chance she got, and there's clips of me, talking, singing, cheering, dancing, sitting there. There's when she was pregnant with my brother, that pregnancy. There's her daycare. There's her feeding our turtle Peaches. There's Christmases. There's birthdays. Once we moved to Nevada, the videos became pictures. We stopped videoing, and I don't know why. I don't know if something happened to the camera or she just didn't find joy in it anymore. I don't know what happened to the VHS. The only time that ever came back up again was I was looking for a Cheetah Girls tape, and this was during the time where you would tape over things. there's there's one where it was my birth, so like it's my mom in labor and the hospital, and then all of a sudden it's just Oprah, and you can tell that somebody had taped over stuff. It was that time, if you grew up in that time, you get it. Like, you ran out of space, you just taped over stuff. Well, sometimes you taped over stuff that was important, and sometimes you taped over stuff for stuff that was important. Hi, editor here, editor Brie. As I was listening to this, I realized that I made that very confusing. I'm not sure, because this was recorded a while ago. I'm not sure why I started talking about taping over things, other than there was occasions of things being taped over. That did happen. So like, I understand why that was said, but it made it sound like they taped over, and like, that's not what I meant. That wouldn't, timing wise, that's not what I meant. What I meant was I grabbed a VHS thinking it was my Cheetah Girls VHS, and it was not. So it's very quick, but I just wanted to clarify that, and I'm not even sure why it's that important to clarify that, but I clarified it. I genuinely thought it was Cheetah Girls, and it was just a blank black VHS with no writing on it. And yeah, so I'm glad I was able to give you that update. Well, I picked up a tape that I thought was my Cheetah Girls. I had filmed it on the VHS, and I was super excited to watch it. And so I pulled it out of a drawer in my parents' room. I put it in. I laid on the bed on my stomach. I was so excited. And then all of a sudden, my dad's butt came on screen. And we'll just say he was behind my mom on their bed in California. Yikes. I don't I don't know what happened to the VHSs once we moved to but I asked my uncle if he would turn the clips I did have into DVDs. And so he did that. And years later, my mom got mad at me because she wanted all of the DVDs. You know, she wanted copies of them. And I hesitated to give them to her. And I understand now that it was very upsetting to her. But I thought back to the bath times, and I thought to all of the pictures that she had taken when I was a baby of me diaperless next to toilets and washers. And I guess, if I'm being honest with you, I was scared to hand over all of those clips because I didn't know what she would do with them. I didn't know who she'd show them to. I didn't know where she'd post them. I have some montages I created when we moved to Nevada, you know, pictures and stuff. But most of what I have left of younger me, as far as my voice, you know, it's in those videos. So I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but the point is that I was filmed a lot. So the magic eye thing stuck because I was either the one being filmed or I just was in the background hoping that they'd pay attention to me. Because I learned that if I was performing for the camera, then all eyes were on me. And I also noticed how people acted when the camera was on versus when the camera was off. You see a lot of that now with people being on live. Have you ever seen somebody's live and they think the camera's off and they act a totally different way and you kind of sit there going, huh, so that's how you really are behind the scenes? Yeah, I lived that. I watched people be so sweet, so kind to each other, and then as soon as the camera was off, they were back to hating each other. And I loved getting the attention from my mom for performing. Now, watching those clips back, and some of my friends have mentioned that it's kind of tough to watch because there's a lot of perform, but perform the way I want you to perform. Say what I want you to say. And also turning on the camera and knowing I'm wearing nothing but a t-shirt because I always wear just a t-shirt. And then verbally reminding me that I'm wearing just a t-shirt, even though you're the adult who turned on the camera. It felt embarrassing back then, and it looks embarrassing now. So when the VHS turned off when I was older in Nevada, that left a void. Now, I was very imaginative as a kid, and so I just kind of started maladaptive daydreaming intensely, like full role plays with myself in my room, in other parts of the house, in other people's houses, at the park, everywhere. I started to believe that I was on the real world. Not the actual show, not that, but I would wake up in the morning and I would look at the imaginary camera and I would go, hello, which is ironic now, but it's the reason I survived. All seriousness. When I was 8, my brother was born. And as I said, we were still doing VHSs, but when he was born, it started being more get out of the screen, get out of the camera. I'm filming your brother, I'm filming the daycare kids. I started to be a bother. Now, reminder that up until that point, I was the star of the show. And when I say star of the show, I know it sounds like I'm being egotistical. It's just the fact. She said it then. You're the star of the show, put on a show, so I did. My dad walked out into the living room. Oh, the star is performing again, so I performed. When I was 8, they didn't need me to perform anymore. They had a new performer. All of a sudden, there was this void. There was no more VHSs. Things were more digital cameras, but it was more pictures. And it just didn't feel the same to see myself in a picture. And I know it's a weird comparison, but seeing myself in a picture felt lifeless and just borderline gave me this eerie feeling. I just always thought of that Polaroid, and it was just, I think that's why I connected with TikTok, is because it felt like home videos again. A little different, obviously, but it was like home videos where I got to decide what that performance looked like. But I quickly realized that I didn't want to perform. I just wanted to be seen. Well, that's where this issue comes into play. Because I had never healed the being seen part. I knew how to watch. I had a watcher part. But I didn't know how to be watched. And it impacted all areas of my life. I am currently 5'10". In 5th grade, I was 5'8". And my point in saying that is that I was always big, large, in charge. I'm a presence, but a presence without confidence feels enormous. Not powerful in the way. So I was the same girl who, when she was tiny and in nothing but a t-shirt, was the star of the show, had this weird Polaroid memory, then finds this VHS from years prior. I found out it was around the time that my brother was conceived. And then all of a sudden the VHS camera was gone. It was replaced by pictures. And this is, what if, just a thought, what if the reason that transition happened was because of the control of the situation? If you take a picture, nobody can hear the background. Obviously now we have situations where you can have live photos, but back then we didn't have that. You took a photo, heck, when we had the developing cameras, like you had to wait a while to even see the picture you took. There was no live photo. There was no listening to what was happening around that photo. So once we moved to Nevada, there was a lot of photos being taken. I would dance around my room. I would live my best life inside my head. And then sometimes I would forget to lock the door of my bedroom, and my mom would walk in and catch me. And even if I did lock the door, that was almost worse because then it was like, why are you locking the door? What are you trying to hide? Well, so if she walked in on me, I would panic and just stand there. Now it's funny because it's like, girl, just say what you were doing. But also, I get it. What was I gonna. Yeah, you caught me, Mom. I'm in a fantasy world comprised solely of myself. Oh, and younger versions of me. Yeah, that'll go over well. So I would just lie. And more in an omitting kind of way. What are you doing? Nothing. Nothing. You're just standing in the middle of your bedroom? Yeah. Or, even worse, I would pretend I was in the middle of doing something. Oh, I'm cleaning my room. Uh huh. It's, she never believed it. But I would still try. Because lying about that just felt easier to digest than admitting just how much turmoil I was in. I would get so panicked in any situation where I felt like somebody was perceiving me. Leaving my room, walking into the kitchen, somebody being in the living room, they turn and look at me. Yikes. Walking into a classroom late. Ooh, yikes. When I met Cougar, yeah, there was the pictures, in the beginning. And then my voice. And then there was videos. And I'll keep some details to myself, but it was like videos came back to haunt me again. Yet again, I was the star of the show, but it didn't feel good. It didn't have that I'm a little girl who's a pop star and my mom's just so impressed. It didn't have the my dad's walking around the house with the VHS and mom's sleeping and she's so cute and pregnant and that's why he's filming her. I'm a mermaid and that's why they're filming me in the bathtub. It didn't have any of that. It just had Cougar. And it just had videos I had to hide, videos I had to know existed in places where they never should have existed. They never should have existed at all, but definitely not where they existed. And then they started being held over my head, and that was different because it didn't feel like the videos you all have seen on TikTok. Just a cute little girl performing, laughing, cracking herself up. It just was comments like, you perform so well for the camera, put on a show. And maybe if I knew what moment made the biggest wound as far as being seen, maybe I could heal it quicker. But all I know is that it developed into me closing my eyes and even during intimacy with my husband. And there was a day even he told me, I understand why you close your eyes, but you do realize that when you close your eyes, you're the only one who can't see. I can still see you. So I solved that by saying, okay, well, then we will only do certain things in pitch black darkness. Okay. Keep in mind, this is a man who is my absolute soulmate. I don't trust anybody like I trust this man. He's seen me at my worst, you know? He's seen me give birth. He's seen me age regress. He's seen me in various forms. And even he felt dangerous to see me with the lights on and my eyes open. That's sad, huh? And it's all tied together. Okay, don't laugh at this, but TikTok helped because a lot of the beginning of our TikTok journey involved me because I switched a lot. You know, whether it was me, B, Buttercup, no matter who, we switched a lot. And so at the very beginning, there was a lot of times where B would film a TikTok, and then later on in the day, we'd have a sort of amnesia of we haven't done anything today, and I would be able to show the TikTok and go, no, you actually did do a lot today. And then there would be times where we would film a TikTok and we were just having fun, you know. But I started recognizing myself. It's hard to be a host of a system when you've never been an adult before. Like, think of that. Think of internally, I've always been an adult. As far as me, okay? I've always been an adult. Well, then one day you actually are an adult, but you deal with this back and forth of one moment feeling like when you look in the mirror, you look just like your mother. And then another time looking in the mirror and seeing somebody that looks like you but isn't you. But then also looking in the same mirror another day and going, that's me. Oh, yeah, that's me. And it's always the same body. I think that is one of the main reasons I haven't lost weight. And I'm only saying that to you because you can't see me. It feels less vulnerable. But I think I'm scared to know what I look like if I do lose the weight. And that's not a... I understand I'm wonderful just as I am. It's not a putting me down. It's just another fact. The last time I was, we'll say my goal weight, I don't really have one, but my original goal weight was late teens, early 20s. I've had children. I've lived a lot of life. I've done a lot of damage to my body. It is not possible for my body to look the same way it did at 17. Thank goodness. Because what I was doing to achieve that body wasn't great. And quite honestly, I think my body would look even better because obviously I'm a grown woman now. My body's not going to look like a teenage girl. But obviously, I have parts of me that scares because if you remember being a teenage girl and then you look in the mirror and you're much older than you remember, that's already disorienting. And so, yeah, there's the fear of being harmed, but I guess now I've just grown up enough that it's like, I think that fear is just there no matter what you look like, because it's also scary to think that you're 300 pounds and somebody tries to hurt you and you gotta outrun them. Right? That was also scary. Whether you're thin or you're fat, air quotes, you gotta run from a monster. That's still terrifying. it's even more scary if you think, oh, what if I got kids with me and I can't physically lift them to run? But all of it is intense when it all stems back to being scared of being seen. It doesn't matter what I look like. If somebody's seeing me, whether that be in person or on TikTok or on YouTube or on Facebook, if that scares me, then none of it matters. It doesn't matter what I look like. I deal with a lot of fear of I'm scared to know what it would look like if I succeeded with my weight loss, and I'm scared to see what it looks like if I don't. I'm scared to be seen, but I'm also scared to disappear. I'm scared to get my voice back. I'm also scared to lose it again. I'm scared that my body is aging, and what if I physically can't get to a point of losing the weight? Now, I say that I have a wonderful bestie who is currently doing a weight loss goal just like that. She's created an entire program where she helps people realize that they are not stuck. So, for that piece, I call bullshit on myself because my friend is showing me that it doesn't matter. You start where you are and you go. But when I throw my back out pulling weeds, it makes sense why HIIT workouts aren't working for me. And I think that's why I show so many of those TikToks of me when I was younger, because I just want to remember what it was like to be seen without realizing how many eyes are on me. I don't know the full amount because it's not possible, and honestly, I don't want to know because that would freak me out. But I'm not stupid, and I'm on a lot of social media, and I am in public and catch people staring at me, and you have to keep your mind positive, or else them staring at you is interpreted to your own mind as them hating you, as them judging you. My husband stares at me a lot. A lot. I I'll just be sitting there and I'll look at him and he's watching me. And for many years, I interpreted it as he's internally just, why am I with her? Gosh, she's ugly. And I know that if he ever hears me say that, that will break his heart because I know deep down that that is not what he's thinking. And I think that's why I close my eyes during intimacy, is because, I mean, he stares very intensely at me during those moments. And when I don't let insecurity get me, it feels powerful to have somebody looking at you like that. But there's a fine line for me as a whole system between somebody looking at me with desire and someone looking at me with lust. Just like it's hard for me to feel worthy of filming a TikTok in a world of TikTok videos. I mean, it's endless. And so you have to put it out in the world, but then not worry about the analytics, but then also worry about the analytics to make it better, but then also talk about stuff that social media doesn't want to push out to the masses. So worry about the analytics so you can make sure you're reaching as many people as possible, but then also all those people are watching you. They're all looking at you. They're all judging you. They're talking about you. Now lead a nonprofit. Lead a family. Help people heal. Go to the grocery store. Live life. Achieve your dreams. Have fun. And deal with a lot of look at me, don't look at me. You're looking too long. And I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't. I don't want to live like that anymore. Because whether I close my eyes or not, people can still see me. I'm the only one who's lost sight in those moments. And why do I have to be the one with my eyes closed? I don't want to be. And I know when I was younger, my eyes being closed was meant to protect me. Many people use that tactic. I mean, if I was with my family and we were watching, perfect example. We went to see a movie called there's a scalping scene in it. And when we would have situations where we'd be watching a movie and there would either be a violent scene or a sexual scene, my mother would just tell me, close your eyes. And so I would put both hands over my eyes and I would wait until she told me, open them. In our town, they put up a billboard and it was for it was for a strip club. And the moment it was built, my mother was like, you are not to see it. And so we would be driving in from town and she would say, okay, B, close your eyes. And I would close my eyes until we passed the billboard. And one of the days, I purposely pretended to be asleep so that I could catch a glimpse of the billboard and finally see what I had been missing out on. And I fell asleep for real, and I never saw it. I asked my husband, did you see the billboard? And he's like, yeah. So he told me, but it wasn't the same as actually seeing it, you know? Now, I'm not saying that me as a kid, like, I should have seen the billboard. It was a whole thing in the town, but I just had to close my eyes anytime anything inappropriate happened. But I still stick to the fact that, yeah, my eyes were closed, but my ears were open, which means I didn't see the woman being scalped, but I could hear her screaming in agony. I didn't see the scene between the couple, but I sure could hear it. And yeah, my eyes were closed, but I've always been able to hear. Nobody ever plugged my ears. So when I would have situations where I saw a video nobody wanted me to see, I had to remind myself to close my eyes. I had to remind myself to look away. And I never really learned how to open my eyes. I started being scared of everything. And I never learned when it was okay to have my eyes open, when it was safe to have my eyes open, and that not everybody who looks at you has bad intentions, that you are not always being watched. I mean, the magic eye gets very unique as a wound when you are surrounded by social media, when you are on social media, when you have situations like being in public and people wanting to talk to you, when you hear stories about traffic cameras, and it's 11:50 p.m. right now, and I just want you to know that I really am loving this unmuted, and I got the new microphone, and I know to you my voice probably sounds the same, but when I was researching it, it told me that my voice would sound different to me because it's my real voice, which was interesting to read because my voice, I mean, you know, my voice has been an issue, but my voice was an issue even just in the tiniest amount because it sounded so deep. And I now realize that much like people sometimes have eye color changes, what did my son call it? He called it the other day something. And me and his dad were like, that's actually pretty good. Emotional. Oh, I can't remember. emotional something, but he was talking about his eyes changing colors with his emotions because it's something that his dad can do too. And he figured out he could do it too. And so we were talking about that. Emotional chameleon? I don't know. I can't remember it now. Man, I wish I could remember. Because we were sitting at the kitchen table and I was like, that's good. Well, my voice did that my whole life. I'd have more pitch changes depending on my mood, and it would sound more monotone depending on my mood. And there's not even really a point to this audio. I'm doing the fair tomorrow, and there's going to be a lot of people looking at me. And I don't know, I guess I'm just thinking about those videos, little girl, and I've gotten a little more of the whole Polaroid situation. I've gotten a little more memory back, and what I got back's enough. We'll just say that. What I got back is plenty. So that feeling makes a lot more sense now, but it doesn't make it any easier. Having those videos, even making edits and all that with them, it's hard because I know all the rest. I know when the camera was off. I know what happens when the transition to pictures happened, and my little digital camera, and how much I loved it and how much I hated it. And just to know, I mean, all of that happened young, and to just know that a piece of me still struggles to open my eyes while also wanting so badly to look at the world. I want my eyes open so bad. I know I'll be okay tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. I know I don't need to have my eyes closed, and I know that in certain situations where I want to open my eyes, that I'm safe to. I'm safe to say, I want to do this. I want your help. But I think there's a part of me that's scared that I can't open my eyes until I'll like what I see. But that's no way to live. If you told me that, I would tell you that's no way to live. I can't open my eyes until I lose the weight. That's not fair. Not when tomorrow's not promised. And I sure don't look at those old videos and go, ugh, she looks stupid. I definitely don't do that. I don't even look at my old TikToks, the very beginning ones with B. I don't look at those and go, ugh, she looks so fat in that red dress. No. So why do I think that I would do that with me now? Why do I think future me would be looking back on me now going, she should have kept her eyes shut? What am I scared I'm going to see? Because it's not what made me close my eyes in the first place. I know that. I know that the me that's standing on the other side that I would see once I open my eyes, she's not something to be feared. And I know more what she looks like than I did before. I see glimpses of her. I need to go to bed. I didn't even plan on filming this. I don't even know what I'm gonna I don't even know what I'm gonna title it. I don't even know what this is about. I moved in my chair. I don't even know if you can hear me. I hope so. That would suck. And I can feel myself getting emotional. And I've told you, sleep's a big trigger for me. But I've also been talking about a lot of stuff, and I think I am feeling buttercup. That's one of the things you guys wouldn't know unless I tell you, but obviously when I speak about certain things, you understand that I'm the grown up. So obviously when I say I'm not actually talking about I, but also I am because I'm me. One day we will probably share a couple more pieces, but I just need you to know, like, because she wouldn't tell you it, but Buttercup really has come a long way in terms of opening her eyes, and I don't blame her for closing them in the first place. That's probably why we were able to survive, was her not being able to see. And if you knew exactly what she was avoiding seeing, you wouldn't blame her. You wouldn't. You would have closed your eyes too. I just hope that one day she can see a power in herself where she's able to look back at her husband with the same intensity that he shows us. Not because we need to prove anything to Kevin. Absolutely not. He would never expect that. I could keep my eyes closed for the rest of our relationship and he'd just be happy to be with me, you know? We know that. She knows that. It's more of just a personal journey kind of thing. She's worked so hard to not be that. Sometimes I wish that she didn't need to hide behind me. And I know that's kind of odd for me to say, but there's been times where it was interpreted that it was me, and it was not. And I've seen the confidence, I've seen the power, but then it's almost like once you say her name, she just skitters away. And I don't know if that's because even going back to the beginning, she wasn't her. She was Bubbles with a mood swing. She was Bubbles being quiet. She was Bubbles being moody. But she wasn't. She had a lot to say, but not a lot of people who wanted to hear it. And she wasn't the type to perform for the camera. She didn't want to perform for the camera. She didn't like performing for the camera. She was scared of the camera because it watched her every move. It saw everything. It pretended to see things that it couldn't actually really see, but she didn't know that back then. So she really did think that it could see everything, even her sitting on the toilet. The only thing that helped was the thought that maybe some of the bad moments were witnessed by the magic eye too. If if all the good stuff was witnessed and the her being naughty was witnessed, and the bedtimes and the holidays and the bath times and the bathroom trips and the sneaking food, if all of that was witnessed, then maybe the magic eye really did see everything. I guess I'll never know how much the magic eye really saw. Just like now, I don't know who all is watching. But maybe one day I can live in a way that it doesn't matter who's watching because I see it. I'm proud of it. And maybe this skin suit, armor, the weight emotionally, the weight physically. Maybe one day I can, as a whole system, open my eyes and let it go. Maybe when I open my eyes, I'll realize that I'm not trying to sneak looks at billboards or avoid scary scenes in movies. Maybe one day I'll just open my eyes and me and my girls are just in happy place, happy, living life, healthy. And I really hope that when we do that consistently, we can do it in short bursts, but consistently every day. I look forward to seeing how many people are looking back at me, not with judgment, not with expectation, just seeing me exactly as I am, not performing for the camera, not being vulnerable for the camera, not being manipulated by the camera, just living. And if the camera catches it, the camera catches it. If the people see it, then the people see it. But whether the camera's on or the camera's off, our eyes are still open, no matter what. Maybe one day. I'm a step closer every day. So there's that. Now, it's 12:10 a.m. which means it is now the day of the fair. And I have to be up in a few hours to be seen. So, I hope this audio makes the cut. Because usually I'm the one to run the checks, but I think, given how I feel right now, I probably should run it by somebody first to make sure. I wish you the best night. And I don't really know how to end this. I've stayed up far too late. Now I'm emotional. There's so much I wish I could talk to you about, but I don't know how to talk to you about it. Because I don't know how to put it into words. And I feel the need to explain things that I can't explain. But I'm desperate to talk about it. This episode is the perfect example. It's all just rambling, but alright. I know myself well enough to know that considering the tears are flowing, I'm not going to find any answers tonight. Because they're not answers I can give myself. I can give myself many answers, but I can't give all the answers. So I can sit here trying to figure out magic eyes and white shirts and VHSs. But all of that's not going anywhere, right? It's gonna still be there tomorrow. But right now, I need to go to sleep. Because in a few hours, my system has to go be the lioness in the darkness. At a booth, at a fair, surrounded by toys and children who do not care about my social media or cameras. They just care about that grown-up sitting across from them. And I want to be mentally capable of being fully present. I can try to figure out the answers to past questions another time, but right now I need to put my system to sleep and the rest can be figured out later. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for hearing me. Every step of this journey helps me heal another piece. And I hope you never doubt, whoever you are listening, I hope you never doubt the impact that you listening has had. I've had many situations where my words, my voice, my presence was used for people's cruel agendas. And this space is different. I've made sure of it. If any space in this entire world has the possibility of healing Buttercup, it's unmuted. Sometimes I say stuff for her because she is still scared to say it herself. But the fact that she lets me share some of this stuff for her, for Bubbles, for B, for Bianca, that says a lot. And whether you know that or not, I'm saying that says a lot. So, I gotta go make magic happen, so I gotta get some sleep first. I'm very tired. Okay, I'm stopping. I'm not. You hang up first. I'm just kidding. Good night. I'll talk to you next time. Okay, I'm hanging up.